Welcome back, and we are happy to welcome you back to the Water Optimization 2021 Conference, Expo, and Awards. And we will go on to our next session. And I would request all our speakers to please keep themselves on mute. And when I request them to speak, only unmute yourself then. Now, this session is about enhancing waste heat recovery from water recycling. Now, under the new rules laid down by the government, power plants have to install FGD units to reduce their emissions. Waste heat and water recovery systems have been developed that can capture anywhere between 40 to 60% of the water vapor and the latent heat of the flue gas, which exits at very high temperatures. So it is like killing two birds with one stone, as water vapor and its latent heat can be recovered and reused. This way, the plant thermal efficiency improves, plus there is water recovery benefit as well. And now to talk about the latest technologies for waste heat and water recovery system, please welcome our speakers. We have Mr. Ashit Desai, Head of Chemistry and Water Treatment, SR Power, and Mr. Kesri Nandan Pandey, General Manager, Reliance Industries. Both of these speakers will be giving us their presentations today. I see Mr. Desai is on the stage with us right now. Mr. Desai, thank you so much for joining us. I would request you to please turn on your video and start with your presentation.
How to share this presentation?
Mr. Desai, we can see you, and you'll see that at the bottom of the screen, there is an arrow button. If you can see the arrow button, you just press on the arrow button, and then you will start sharing your screen. You can then select your presentation and go full screen, and then give us your presentation.
Fine.
And just a reminder to all the participants, this is a chance where you can ask your questions to industry veterans who've been, who've got their hands wet and hands dirty for, all the technologies and solutions that they have deployed at their plants to reduce water wastage, recycling, and of course capturing heat as well. So use this opportunity to ask the questions if they come to your mind once you've seen the presentation. Just raise your hands, and after the session, when both our presenters have finished their presentations, we'll be taking up questions. Mr. Desai, you haven't started sharing your screen yet.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm not able to. I'm just trying. Choose the application or tab option while sharing the screen.
Yes, we can see your screen, sir.
But I'm not able to see my screen.
So you need to select either you can take the PDF option or the full screen, the application option. You can stop sharing and start again, sir, and then go to your application to your presentation.
I don't know. I'm not able to share that presentation.
All right, sir. We'll see if somebody can help you. But like I said, sir,
I
at
was
the bottom.
trying to call you, Asit ji, to guide you to present the presentation. You see this? You can see this button down.
Yeah.
Present to the audience. Click that button.
Yes. I selected PDF. PDF file is in.
Select your PDF file and shoot.
Yeah, but I'm not able to connect that because it is not appearing on the dash. It is already there in desktop, but I'm not
It
able
will be
to.
appearing at one of the tabs in the bottom, or you can select uh, share entire screen.
Yeah, that is already done, but somehow.
Yes, we can see your screen now.
Yeah, right,
Yes, just go
right.
full screen. We
Full
can see
screen.
your screen.
The last tab, view full screen. No, you are right. You were right on the presentation.
Yeah, but I'm not able to see my PPT.
You won't able to see the screen. You will be able to see the presentation on your screen.
Okay, now how to start it? The application or tab button or
Let me call you back.
how?
You will not be able to see the screen of the audience. You will be able to see the screen of your PPT.
Yes, I'm not able to see my PPT. That's what I'm saying.
Uh, Stop sharing.
Yeah, stop sharing. Now it is showing PDF for the share screen. It is not. No. It is select PDF file or share screen. That is only. Okay. Share screen. Okay. Now entire screen. It is already there. Entire screen. Yeah. Share. You will be able to see it. I'm not able to see it. Close the application or tab option Y. That is what it's saying. I'm not able to see. Can we start the other speaker? I'll call our ITB. Yeah.
The presentation is on screen.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Fine. Fine. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Good afternoon to all. I'm audible.
Yes, Mr. Desai, we can hear you. Please go ahead with your presentation. You can go full screen. We are seeing a slide now. You can just go to the bottom. Yes. Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Okay. Sorry for all inconveniences. Basically, we are in the field of power generation. We are SR Power Hazira Limited. We call it as a waste to energy power plant. Our customer is being. This is a captive power plant for steel. Earlier it was SR Steel, and now it becomes ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel India Limited. We call it as a waste to energy power plant because it is designed for coal fines, chorus gas, DRI tail gas, coke oven gas, uh, basically all types of fuel, liquid. We can fire uh, HSD also. So liquid, solid, and gas, all three sources. Now the topic is based on water conservation. So uh, we all often know that power generation, water is a very intensive project. Considering that uh, we are very much committed towards natural water resources, especially in water conservation field. We have water policies in place uh, to ensure our commitment towards water conservation. Now, being a captive power plant, we have a PPA, power purchase agreement between Nippon Steel India Limited and SR Power. And based on that PPA, water is being supplied free of cost to us and on actual consumption basis. despite of ample water availability and no cost to us, we are, as I said, we are very much committed towards water conservation, and we have implemented various water savings projects over the years, which needs a lot of investment also, and we have done. Again, I'm saying it is despite of ample availability of water and no cost to us. This has resulted in major savings in terms of water consumption. This is the water policy what we have made and we are committed for. We have a certain monitoring and review mechanisms. As a part of that, water balance we are doing on daily basis to know the water loss, if at all any, and the corrective actions can be made immediately. We have a cross-functional audit, that is inter-department audit, on a half-yearly basis. It's a sort of a third-party audit also. And whatever outcomes is there, we review it on the same day and taking corrective actions on whatever findings are there. At the same time, water conservation initiative what we have taken are being reviewed monthly by senior management. All the water consumption points are being metered. There is no unaccounted water. And all the water meters are being calibrated periodically by third-party NABL approved lab. As a result of this, we are able to achieve our lowest raw water specific consumption of 2.2 meter cube per megawatt against MOF guideline of 3.5 meter cube per megawatt. Our goal is to remain well below the target specified by Ministry of Environment and Forest. With a lot of efforts, we are able to discharge less than 3% of total water intake as affluent from our power plant premises. And whatever affluent being generated, out of that 85% of that wastewater is being reused in plant process itself. If we talk about source of water, basically it's a Tapi River water coming from Ukar Dam. It's a very, very fluctuating intake water parameters. Conductivity, I have taken only one parameter, which will be summation of all. Conductivity varies from 350 in monsoon to 750, sometimes 780, 790 microsiemens during summer. Now, all of know that water treatment plants are designed for certain parameters. Ours are on 500 ppm of TDS. So with this much of fluctuation of water quality, lot of variations in the output between two regeneration of water treatment plants. What we have done is we have modified our water treatment plant vessels by utilizing design margin itself to reduce wastewater generation. Cost is free of cost to us, but yes, it is being paid by our parent company. It is 30 rupees per meter cube, costly water. Our philosophy for water conservation, we believe in the proactive mode, not in reactive mode. We used to cut at source itself. As all of us know, that power plant, thermal power station is having major consumption in cooling tower and boiler itself, and some amount of in water treatment plant regeneration process. Now, if you talk about boiler water blowdown, major silica is the major component for deciding the boiler water blowdown quantity. What we have decided that we will improve, will give best quality to boiler so that our blowdown will be less. We are maintaining less than 5 ppb of silica at any point of time at DM plant outlet, so that boiler blowdown can be minimized. Whatever boiler blowdown is generated, it is less than 1% basically. Whatever boiler blowdown is being generated from boiler as a wastewater is 100% reused for cooling tower makeup. We have laid line from boiler blowdown every tank to cooling tower makeup. So there is no wastage of boiler blowdown. It's a good water, and compared to 14,000 meter cube of basin volume, it's peanut for to take any contamination. It's a good water, basically DM water. Now, second source is, as I said, cooling tower is the major source of water consumption. We have a big cooling tower, 42,000 meter cube per hour of circulation rate for our 70 megawatt multi-fuel power plant. Now, this is showing our commitment towards water conservation. We have selected titanium tube condenser, which is very costlier, 4.10 times costlier than normally admiralty brass or stainless steel is. It's a very costly affair, but still keeping in mind that water needs to be conserved on priority, management has decided to go for costly affair. We have this is the learning which we have sharing to every platform. We have designed our own cooling water treatment program for our cooling tower. Normally, nobody will afford to take risk. What we have done before establishing what we have done, we have we have made a simulator, engineering and design simulator, same as condenser, where MOC, velocity, heat flux, LMTD, everything is being designed as for condenser. We have run it for 2 months, and it was found to be okay. Based on detailed study and various options and detail worked out, some modification of cooling water treatment programs in terms of chemical treatment we have done, and we are able to achieve cycles of concentration of 7 from earlier design of 3.5 to 4. This has resulted in huge water saving and also resulted in achieving 2.2 meter cube per megawatt of specific water consumption. Now, this is a unique cooling water treatment what we have designed here. None of the power stations, I'm not sure, but as per my knowledge in India, none of the power stations will have this kind of thing. No acid, it is 0 drop of acid is being used for cooling water treatment program. Normally, every power stations are using sulfuric acid to maintain pH, to maintain ASI, LSI, Ranger index, etc. We don't use any single drop of acid in cooling tower. We have eliminated chlorine tunnel, which are very hazardous in nature, by implementing chlorine dioxide in situ generation. We are using best of the available cooling water treatment chemicals like high grade polymers, that is terpolymers, organic phosphate, that is PBTC. Normally, the cost of these phosphates are almost 4 or 5 times more than conventional phosphate treatment program. Because of chlorine dioxide in situ generation implemented, there is no consent for chloride for stainless steel MOC, because as per standard, industry standard, maximum 270 to 300 ppm of chloride is being maintained in circulating water. If you dose chlorine gas, then 1 ppm of 1 kg of chlorine gas will contribute to 1 ppm of chloride, whereas ClO2 will remain as ClO2 and will not contribute to any chloride generation. That's the biggest advantage. It's a costly affair, but it is justifiable because acid cost and chlorine cost will nullify the cost of chlorine dioxide. Condenser inspection is being done on regular basis. It's a very challenging job for cooling water treatment program in-house maintaining. everything we found, no scale, no fouling, nothing, no deposit. Corrosion rates are also being monitored on regular basis. All are within the limit, less than 1 or less than 1.2 mils per year. Condenser cleaning is not done since commissioning. It's a big achievement. Zero outage due to cooling water non-performance, cooling water treatment non-performance. Condenser performance is being evaluated on regular basis, and it is found as good as or the same as on commissioning date. To achieve the specific water consumption of 2.2 meter cube per megawatt, we have implemented various water conservation schemes like pressure sand filter and softener backwash water recovery. It is 100% recovery. 100% boiler blowdown water to cooling tower makeup. It is already said. This is a unique one. Salt and water recovery during softener regeneration. It was found that some amount of salt and water can be recovered during the regeneration based on some testing and carried out at site. We have installed thickener for clarifier storage and water recovery. Cooling tower blowdown is being utilized for entire coal and ash handling system. Cooling tower blowdown reuse by our steel plant, and they have replaced fresh water by using our good cooling tower blowdown water quality. All the SWAS samples, it's a small things, but it makes a lot of difference. SWAS samples made in series, like conductivity sample, we will divert it to pH and then dissolve oxygen, so that wastage of DM water would be minimized. This is standard power station chemistry. We have pumping station from river, raw water pump house we have, then clarifier water storage tank, to filtration plant which is used for cooling tower makeup, and DM plant and used for boiler water makeup. These are the project I've already said. This has resulted, I have not mentioned yet, but it has resulted in 7.87 lakh meter cube annually because of various water conservations measures we have taken. We used to receive a lot of awards and accolades from very reputed organizations like Green Tech, CII, Safety for TUV, Mission Energy last year also, 2019. We, apart from all awards and accolades, we have hosted water meet at SR Power. All the major industries have participated, like Reliance, L&T, Kripco, NGC, Sustil earlier, GSC, Stack, Torrent, Power, and other things. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr.
Sorry,
Desai.
actually, I was not well. I was suffering from. I'm suffering from falciparum. So, and it's a small presentation I made.
Thank you so much.
I only
Thank you,
came for
Mr.
this presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Desai. Please get some rest, and thank you so much for all the details you've shared. So I'm sure the participants have a lot to take away from what you're doing at your plant and the successes that you have achieved. Thank you so much for joining us on this platform, Water Optimization Conference, to share your experience and your learnings with the audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Mr. K.N. Pandey of Reliance Industries. Let's see his presentation. Sir, Mr. Desai, I have requested you to please stop presenting. If you could stop your presentation, then we can start with the next presentation. If you could stop your presentation, sir. Yes, thank you so much. Let's now hear Mr. K.N. Pandey.
Mr. Pandey, I have started the recording. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello everybody. Distinguished guest. Myself, K. Srinandhan Pandey. I'm working here in the Rosa Power Supply Company as a General Manager, Head Efficiency. We, Rosa Power, have applied for the STEAM Award for the Mission Energy in the water management in the category of Best Water Efficient Plant above 500 megawatt capacity. So I will share my presentation with all of you. So we at the Rosa Power is committed to conserve and preserve the natural resources of our country and in turn avoid the degradation of our environment. It is now and never situation to become a environment friendly and create a pool for the future generation. It is immensely important to give weightage for efficient utilization of our natural resources, whether related to coal, that is heat rate, auxiliary power, water optimization, stack emission, and ash utilization. Rosa Power gives interest to all the concerned areas, and we are day and night performing our best and as per the standard operating procedure for achieving the same. Rosa Power is a 1200 megawatt power plant. It has the 4 units of 300 megawatt each. It is a coal-based thermal power plant, and we are situated at the Shahjahanpur district of Uttar Pradesh. Sir, it is near the National Highway 24 between Lucknow and New Delhi. We have the long-term agreement PPA with Uttar Pradesh government UPPCL, and we have the FSA with her CCL coal mines. We have the water agreement with her Sharda Canal division. It is a UP irrigation department project. So we have the water linkage with the Sharda Canal divisions. Sir, RPCL has many feathers in the cap, whether it is related to energy conservation, safety, CSR, water optimization, environmental, and CSR, and its ISO standards. Recently, in year 2020-21, some of the awards and recognition we have got is shared in your screen. We have got the first time certified with the EMS, Energy Management System. It is ISO 50001 2000 certified company. We have already certified with the IMS with different OSAS, quality, all the certification we have it. We are the winner of British Safety Council Award in 2020. We are the winner of Safety Award in Prashasna Path from Government of India, National Safety Council. Recently, we have got the CSR Award for Best COVID Management here and the Uttar Pradesh Leadership CSR Award. These are the sums award, but we have the numerous laurels in our bank. We have got award from our customer also, Uttar Pradesh Power Corporation. We are the best efficient power plant in UP from the last 2 consecutive years, from 2018-19 and 19-20. So we are maintaining the best specific water consumption of 2.10 meter cube per megawatt hour against our design of 2.45 and against the allowed Government of India guidelines norms of 3.5 meter cube per megawatt. Is much below that. So in turn, I can tell you in the year 2020-21, we have saved water usage of 1.2 lakhs person as per the per capita 200 liters per capita per person consumption by adopting different various optimization measures. As per the design of 2.45, we have saved water usage of around 52,000 person in a year since we have maintained our specific water consumption of 2.10. There is a guideline gazette issued by Jal Shakti Department Ministry on 26 September regarding the extraction of water usage, groundwater usage, and stated 150 to 200 LPSD, liters per day per head, has to be is the norms. But Rosa Power here, we are well below the, in fact, we are at the 130 LPSD. We are following the norms strictly and adhering it. And that's why we are the zero waste water discharge plant here. We are proud to say that we are the zero waste water discharge plant. As you can see in the screen, this is the plant information. This is the Rosa Power Supply Company. We have the long-term FSA, full supply agreement, coal use from the Shoka mines, CCL Jharkhand. We have the water source of Garra River, Shahjahanpur. We have the pumping substation at around 1 kilometer from this plant. And the water regulation for the plant is 75 cubic. And we are only using roughly 14 to 15 cubic in a year. We have the induced draft cooling tower. So that is a major water guzzler area for us. So we have optimized over all the cooling tower systems there. And we have the ash system. It is the dry and both, dry and wet. So we are more focused on the dry ash so that our water usage in the ash handling is minimized. But lot of numerous methods and methodologically and new modification we have taken to reduce our water consumption in the AHP. You can see in the upcoming slides what are the various initiatives we have done by achieving the 100% ash utilization through, in fact, in the dry mode itself. These are the philosophy we are adopting to achieve our process optimization. Since water and all the parameters are very important in thermal power station, whether it is related to heat rate, auxiliary power, specific oil consumption, specific water consumption, ash utilization. So by the operational excellence, we can achieve all the target as per our annual operating plan. So we are adopting a 360 approach to optimize all the things. Whether in the field of water, we have numerous modifications. We have in-house fabricated our STP, rainwater harvesting system we have implemented. We have plugging the water leakages, regular mapping of the drain wall surveys as per our schedule, and strictly control the rainwater consumption by monitoring and measuring the real-time data. We have the system of Pi here. We can fetch the DCS data in real time in the millisecond, and we can take in our PC. We have the energy management system here. The real time of the data is being taken care of. That's why we achieved the best operational figure till date. Previous financial year, 7.92% APC we have achieved. It is the best ever figure we have achieved here. And with the water is 2.10 meter cube per megawatt hour. Basis. Water conservation is a need of our. If we don't take care of the water cycle, it will not take care of our life cycle. In the world, we have only 0.02% of the fresh water. So since what is the intake of the water and what is the outcome of the water, so it should be nullified so that we can manage the zero water wastage here. So we have the intake pump here. It is 1 kilometer away from the plant. We have the 2 reservoirs here. It is going to the pre-treatment and clarifier system with the DM water circuit in place, and then from the clarified water, a cooling tower makeup. Likewise, from the cooling tower blow down, we have optimized our blow down. It is going to the ash handling, and ash handling, we have the recovery water system there, and it is coming back from the recovery water system. We have the 6 recovery water pumps there. So all the ash water which are going to the dike, we are extracting water from that, and that water is coming back to our plant for further utilization. So that's what we are completing the cycle over, and we are maintaining our zero water discharge of the plant. The next, these are the figures which you can see is the marvelous achievement of our plant. We are maintaining at around 2.10. In the year 17-18, we are gone below up to 2.01. But on that moment, the PLF in the winter season was very high, and that's what so the cooling tower evaporation losses has reduced drastically in that year. and our since we are situated in UP and it is very cold seasons are there. So in the winter season, really specific water goes up to below 2 also sometimes. So that was some exceptions in 17-18, but majority of the portion you can see we are maintaining at 2.10, which is well below our the norms of 3.5. These are the various initiatives we have taken. We have optimized our COC from 4.5 to 5.5, resulting in huge saving of the water. CMB discharge is initially connected to ash handling, but to sump. So we have connected to ash handling to reduce our raw water consumption. This action resulted in a water saving. Since we are taking the continuous effluent plant water to use of ash handling. So we are nullifying over the exit to the plant. We are recently, from the last 3 to 4 years, we have achieved 100% utilization, and majority of the ash is being transported in dry mode. So that has reduced our water intake to the ash handling. And since our recovery system is also very 100% available, so all the water going to the dike, we are recovering 100% that. So that has really conserved our water. We are not using the fresh water. The minimum amount we are using to the in the ash handling. Conversion of fire hydrant underground to overhead lines. These are the major problem for us, because many of the fire lines during the communist election period from 2009 onwards, so many of the fire lines are buried below the 1.5 meter paved area, and frequent leakages were there because of the aging and all that. So that we have taken an initiative, a new project kind of thing to improve our water consumption also. And so since frequent water leakage was happening there, so around 1 kilometer line we have overheaded more and planning for rather 1.5 kilometer to extra do for in the BTG yard. So this has major resulted us in the major saving the water consumption. Rainwater harvesting. We have made a numerous pit in the township. We have and their plant. We have the well lavished township here. So there is a lot of scope in the town plant rainwater harvesting. That is also mandated in the Government of India guidelines. We have optimized of the rainwater harvesting is there. Rainwater survey, leakage survey for the water optimization, ensuring zero stream leakage in the plant so as to minimize our water consumption. All dewatering pits diverted to pre-settling sump. All the pits of better washing water is going to the pre-settling. Their pre-settling settles the ash or coals or dust, and from that fresh water is again reused to the ash in the ash handling for the water transportation, for the ash transportation in the ash handling plant. You can see our DM water cycle makeup is only 0.3%, 0.35% there. So is well below our AOP target of 0.5. So this shows our lot of strictness and lot of monitoring from our operation and maintenance persons. These are the water conservation steps we have taken the ash handling. We have, sir, in-house created our hydro beam. Since 20% ash is being generated in the bottom ash and 80% in the fly ash. Fly ash we are utilizing from the dry system we have, the transport air compressor, and we are, silo is around 1.2 kilometer. So we are giving to the silo, and then silo from there is a bulker transportation to the dry mode. But for the 20% bottom, what we have to do, because the dike has the limited space, so we have in-house fabricated our hydro beam. It is a model equipment for us, and that hydro beam bottom ash has been, water is segregated from the hydro beam, and ash is collected and is giving to the, that ash is a coarse ash. So we are filling to the bulkers, and it is being used in the land filling, and water we are using again to our clarify in the AHP, so that our all wet ash system will be catered by the water system only. So that coarse ash is being also utilized, and our new initiative of making the hydro beam is 100% successful here. CMB line is going to the clarifier instead of ash slurry sump. Average raw water consumption is less than 1 hour per day, sir. We are in-house managing the ash handling system by continually recirculation of our system, by maintaining our ash water ratio, and it has been frequently monitored, the ash water ratio at the sum of around we are maintaining strictly so that we can optimize our water. You can see our fly ash water wet system. We have the fly ash water pump, and we have phase 1, phase 2. Phase 1 of 2 units of 300 megawatt, phase 2 2 units of 300 megawatt. We have made a common header, and we are running only one fly ash water pump to cater our system, like bottom ash and de-ashing time. As per the standard OEM, 8 hours is the line, but we are taking after every 10 hours. So to efficient utilization of our water. Like we are monitoring the hopper evacuation. Only first field hopper sometimes we are taking in the wet mode. Rest hoppers is when we empty by the dry only, because we have numerous modification done. We have around 4,000 to 4,500 metric ton of dry ash is being disposed by ROSA every day. This journey started from year 2015-16. Initially, there is a lot of problem. We can't able to evacuate the ESP hoppers in the dry mode. Only 500 tons to 600 tons we are dispatching to silo. But after numerous modification in last 3 to 4 years, now our capacity is around 4,500 metric ton per day is dispatched in the silo. But silo is also 1.2 kilometer away. So we are facing numerous lines pressurization, dry line pressurization was there. So we have numerous line modification. We have replaced 70 bands to cater our situation. We have really done a remarkable job in the area of ash handling, so that our wet water system, ash system is not being run, and we are running the ESP in completely dry mode. Our dry ash utilization is enhanced up to 75%. These are the major area we have improved our dry ash utilization. 100% use of recovery water system for increasing the dry ash utilization. Lot of modifications as I have already mentioned you, and we are maintaining the silo level monitoring so that our bulker and intake and outtake movement we are capturing in the real time. These are, as you can see, we have the full commissioned clarifier water system, so that all the water which we are handle is the good quality water. We have the recovery water system in the ash dike. We have the 6 recovery water pumps and 2 lines to dispatch our dike water again back to our plant for further utilization. And it is, you can see in the pics, it is in the very good shape. We are maintained in the very good conditions. You can see this is our dry ash utilization from year 17-18 onwards, 48% to 71%, and now we have achieved in the recent 75%. This is dry ash utilization, means out of 80% of dry ash generation, 75% has been utilized. So you can see our gravity of this data. You can see our dry ash utilization in the year 2020-21, 102%. The total air utilization from the last 3 years, you can see 116% in 18-19, 101% in 19-20, and 102% in FY 2021. Out of 14 lakhs ash generated, we have achieved 10.55 lakhs in dry mode itself. That is a magical figure of 10 lakhs we have achieved in the previous financial year by making lot of modification. You can, I can't tell you all the details, but it's a long journey, and we have really come up with a flying colors here. It is a 10 lakhs for the ROSA. It is really a marvelous achievement in the dry ash utilization. So you can see we have this nullifies our water requirement in the ash handling. These are the modification. Initially, we have the lot of bends in our dry ash line from the ESP to silo. Silo is 1.2 kilometers away from the ESP hopper, and you can see lot of bends, 45-degree bends. So that we have eliminated, and we have gone straight, like the ash glided from the ESP and goes to the silo without any hindrance. So that our philosophy was there. So that had resulted a lot of improvement, as you can see in the data also. These are the 70 dry ash lines, and we have made 70 bends to reduce our resistance in the ash. We have installed the new dome wall instead of old segregating walls are there. SS place lining in the ESP hopper so that our ash flows smoothly from the hopper to our systems. Material handling wall size has been increased. ESP evacuation line from the vacuum pumps has been increased. Size of line has been increased so that our ash smoothly evacuates from the ash to our buffer hopper. So numerous modifications. These are the some glimpses I'm showing you, but there is numerous, almost more than 100 plus modifications we have done to improve our ash utilization from 700 to 4,500. These are the improvement initiatives on part of fire, water and line rerouting. I have earlier mentioned that a lot of leakages was there, and that was below the 1.5 meter beneath the paved RCC of 500 mm. So recently we have decided our management is very kind enough to is very in the part of water resources. So that has, you can see in the peaks, these are the concrete, beneath the concrete there was a leakage. So that has been nullified, and we have rerouted our overhead ground, and now the no leakage of fire water, since it is a very critical auxiliary of fire hydrant. So it has to be maintained in the good shape to avoid the major during the major emergency. So now you can see we have developed the garden also in the front, and all the paintings of lines are in the good shape, and no leakage was there. These are the good practices we are adopting the wastewater management and STP. Since all the canteens and sewage is in the plant is there, so canteen is also there. So we are maintaining the STP in the plant and in the township also. So these are the rainwater requirements. Recharge required as per CGWB NOC granted to RVCL. It is a 7,96,000. It is a requirement from the CGWB, and we are maintaining our recharge of 7,30,000 from our plant, and from the township 2,50,000. So as per the requirement of 7,96,000, we are going for the recharge gone to 9,84,000. So that shows our commitment to conserve the water. And these are the glimpses of our STP in the township. We have the 250 KLD township at the township sewage treatment plant, and 2 into 10 KLD at plant, and one STP is in-housely made by our CHP team in the plant itself. And these STP water is again utilized in our horticulture department. We have the very good township and plant ethics improvement, so that water is being used in the horticulture department. So fresh water requirement from the horticulture has been nullified. We are maintaining this at some location from the STP only. You can see this STPs of 10 KLD at CHP location is made by CHP in itself. We have not recorded this CHP. It is really some of the carbon filters, and we have procured rest all the, you can see this has been manufactured and constructed here only, the Rosa Power. These are our in-house projects. This is the ETP effluent treatment plant, well operated, 30 meter cube plant capacity is there. We have all the online monitoring system in place, and it as per the guideline of CGWB, and outlet parameter as per the UPCP standards are being met here. These are the coal settling pit. All the coal water is being collected in the coal settling pit. That settling is being taken care, and that water is again used for the water sprinkling at the CHP in the coal, so that our fresh water requirement in the CHP has been minimized and nullified here. All the dust, coal dust separation is taken care back from the coal settling pit water only. This is the online effluent monitoring system we have mounted, and all the monitoring has been taken as per the guidelines and standard operating procedures. You can see this is the recharge, rainwater recharge. So we are well aware of the water scarcity around the world. So these are the points at township for maintaining our rainwater harvesting system. Plant has 6,000 meter cube, 1 pond, pond 1 and pond 2 to capacity of 10,000 meter cube. So it has been used as a recharge, groundwater recharge. These are the recharge pit we have recently constructed. 8 numbers recharge pit at the township and 4 number at plant. And another 10 number is under 15 number is proposed under construction. Almost 5 is just completed. 10 is further in progress at the different location for the rainwater harvesting. So like this, many of the initiative, as I already told you regarding the rainwater harvesting. So these are some of the best housekeeping practices we have maintained from our horticulture department from the use of STP water only. Pre-treatment plant, you can see actuator rooms conditions. RLDC, our Rosa Learning and Development Center, has a 300 megawatt simulator unit. So it is a well CA recognized training facilities we have integrated. This is an intake pump house. Here, from here only the Garra river, we are taking the water for our plant usage. It is 1.5 kilometer away from our plant. So you can see this aesthetic improvement initiative we are taking here. This is a FOPH pump house, water 5S garden we have maintained here. These are the CHP area. We have in-house constructed the Rafale models here. This is the RLDC greenery, CHP knowledge park. Many of the initiative we have taken. Our plant is really a well designed and well maintained plant in the Rosa Power, and we are confident that we will achieve the water level from 2.10 to below that by taking lot of numerous initiative in the area of cooling towers optimization, eliminating the drift losses, and conserving our natural resources. That's all from my side, and I'm hopeful that our Mission Energy has given me the opportunity to showcase my plant performance, and thanks for the same.
So that was a presentation from Mr. Pandey. Mr. Pandey, thank you so much for the presentation that you gave us. Mr. Desai, are you there? I'm not sure if you're there, but Mr. Desai told us that he was a little under the weather. But if both of you would like to conclude, because we've not received any questions, you've seen each other's presentation. Anything that you would like to say, Mr. Desai, in conclusion? Mr. Desai is on mute. Mr. Pandey, anything that you would like to say in conclusion after having seen Mr. Desai's presentation as well?
Sir, ma'am, I want to convey my station director message for this conference you have conducted, and that is a very fruitful conference to all of the power plant professionals. And it will be the eye opener for all of us to how we can conserve our natural resources and how we can optimize our water requirement so that we can meet for the future generation.
Definitely. Mr. Desai, any few words that you'd like to say for in conclusion after having heard Mr. Pandey as well?
Yeah, madam, it was a very excellent platform to share everybody's learning and achievements in front of all. This will be very much useful to all of us. And thank you very much, Mission Energy, for conducting this kind of award sessions and giving all recognition. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
All right. We would like to thank Mr. Desai and Mr. Pandey for coming here and giving us your presentations. The audience has, of course, learned a lot on water conservation at these two plants the two plants of SR Power and Reliance Industries. Thank you so much for joining us. So we will now have another session coming up in just a couple of minutes. We'll start at 3 p.m. sharp. So we'll see you soon. And the next session is on establishing water balance and flow management. We'll be back in just a jiffy. Join us again in about 2 minutes.